Welcome to Muscle Maintenance with In Shape Fitness. I'm Coach Kim, and today's Functional 5 is starting off a new week. It's Monday, April 6th, and we are going to begin this week like we did last week and the week before. And for a while now, we've been doing less and less exercising in group settings and in gyms and even in the park. We are quarantined, social distancing, however you want to talk about it, forced really to make the most of our exercise life solo and in the home. So if you are a New Yorker, like I am, and you don't have access to a lot of gym equipment in your home, you certainly want to still move, because that is part of the process of being healthy, staying sane, and not sitting around on your butt too much. So we're going to do 5 new exercises this week. We're going to start with that level 1 kind of a lesson in the 5, and we'll practice them today and talk about the nuances of the moves in terms of your posture, in terms of your breathing, in terms of the mechanics, obviously, and just helping you really internalize the way that we're going to do these 5 exercises and their variations all week long. All right. So stand up really tall, and let's begin with a postural systems check. That is the simple act, and you don't need to do an exercise regimen to practice this particular concept. The postural systems check is something that you can do whenever you get up from your chair, and hopefully you're doing that a lot. Getting up every hour is something that you really want to maintain as a rule, as a kind of a habit that you get used to. Even more often than that, if you have a real desk job, and if you're in your home and you're in a more comfortable chair than you are maybe at work, it might be easier to sit for a longer period of time. I have found that. I've been sitting on a couch with my laptop doing most of my typing work, my correspondence and stuff. And man, that's not good for the body to sit on a couch in that sort of, lazy way for a long period of time. So a postural systems check is where you stand up really tall and you think about the imaginary line that runs down the side of your body. It's called a plumb line. So your head is obviously where you start. You start at the top. And you think about where your head is placed in terms of your shoulder position. Your shoulders should be back so that your chest is open, but then your ears and your shoulders should line up vertically. And that prevents you from craning your neck. And when you're standing up and you're not looking at a device, you might naturally just go ahead and get your head back, because your body still just sort of snaps back into that position that it's supposed to be in. But there are tons of people that walk around every day. I watch them. I'm sort of like a fitness anthropologist in a way, because I'm in Manhattan all the time, and I observe the way that people move, the way that people exercise, but also just the way that people walk around. And if you're looking down at your phone a lot, or you are sitting at a computer screen all day, you might start to, make permanent this deviation from the natural posture of your upper spine. So your head is back and your ears are in line with your shoulders. Now you want to make sure that your hips are in line with your knees and your ankles. And that means that you want to tuck in your tailbone a little bit if that sitting down all day has turned into something called lordosis. Now, you tuck in your tailbone, and that helps you pull in your belly button, which engages your tummy muscles. And now, once we start moving, it's going to hopefully help your mechanics stay correct as well, or at least provide you with that sort of signal, the trigger that can get you back into that activated tummy muscle, that trunk activation state, so that when you move your limbs, you are moving from your kinetic core. All right, now let's get started. What we're going to do to begin here is a forward kick. Okay, so it's a forward kick. Now, we're going to do the left leg moving, right leg stable first. Your hands can be on your hips. Your hands can extend out to the sides for balance, or you can put your hands up in front of your face in a defensive position like a kickboxer. And why would you do that if you're not actually doing some kickboxing? Well, part of it is because when you lift your arms up to about the level of your heart, you're going to activate your aerobic energy as well. Okay, so that's kind of a nice thing. And when you lift up your left leg and you kick first, you're going to stabilize on your right leg, which is probably your dominant leg. So lift up the left knee, and with a flexed left foot, you kick the left leg out, right? So knee up first, and you want your knee to be high. It's a slow motion move as well at the beginning. Remember, we always begin slower and then pick up the pace as we continue. So you lift up the knee to about the level of your hip, and then you kick out your left foot, and then you put your left foot back down and continue with the same foot. All right, so maybe another 4 or 5 of them. Again, as with these, all of the exercise regimens that we do, very, very seldom do I instruct you to do a certain number of any exercise. It's more about the time. So functional 5 at its most basic level is to learn 5 moves. And they can be any 5 moves. This is why I'm picking 5 different moves every week. So they can be 5 moves. Dedicate 1 minute to doing them really well after you do a postural systems check and a couple of deep breaths, which inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth is the way you want to breathe. We're going to switch legs now. You're stabilizing on your left leg. Your left foot should be straight. Your left hip flexor should be straight. Your tummy muscles are still pulled in. And now you lift up the right knee and you flex the right foot and then kick out with the right leg. All right, those arms, if you've got them lifted up and out to the sides, or if you're holding them up in front of your face, they might start to get heavy, right? That's another thing to think about. Your arms weigh 5, 6, maybe 8 pounds, depending on how big they are, and you're holding them up using your shoulders, using part of your back, your lats, you're using your muscles and they're isometric contractions, but you do have to hold them up. So as they get heavier, that is another component that adds a little bit of the effort. And the effort is the point here, right? Boosting your metabolism, stimulating your body. We are not concerned right now about fitting into a bikini for spring break or squeezing into the coolest dress for, the cocktail party that you have to attend for your office or whatever. You're hanging in there, trying to stay sane and healthy. Now, the next exercise. So those are the forward kicks. I love forward kicking, and we're going to do lots of different combinations with our kicks this week. So get used to that, and we're going to have some fun. The next exercise that we're going to do 3 moves on your feet today and 2 moves on the floor. So the next move on your feet is a stand on one foot. We're going to do some stability work. This is going to morph into something that we call a forward reach or a grapnel, which is that sort of construction equipment that like levers a big giant claw into a piece of dirt and grabs things and then lifts back up at that sort of arm level lever. So your body, your hips will end up being the hinge that you use to bend over and extend your arm down towards the floor. But today, to start out, it's just a single leg balance. So we're going to start again on your right leg. We sort of already did this, right? So they're going to be related moves here today. We're going to do a stand on the right leg for about 30 seconds. And I wouldn't recommend that you try to extend the body. You're just going to stabilize. So you can either lift your left foot up into a tree pose, or you can just lift your knee up like you did with the forward kick, right? Either one is fine. Hands on your hips again, or out to the sides for balance. Your time is going now. Your right foot is straight. You can squeeze the muscles in your right side, in your right glute and right quadricep muscles to stabilize your body. Keep your back straight and remain calm and focused on one point on your floor. You've got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and that was 30 seconds. Should you be able to hold for 30 seconds on the floor? If you were not able to balance and you had to put your left foot back down a little bit, that's okay. That's okay. You've got a couple of days to practice this. And again, we're going to make it a little more challenging as we move on, but now you know what you need to do in order to master this move. Stabilizing your weight on one leg may not seem like it's all that important metabolically, even because you're not doing all that much. It's an isometric move, a pose, if you will. But it's really good indicator, number one, of your overall balance, right? As you get older, that becomes much more important. And as you're going to see next, because now we're going to stabilize on the left leg, you're going to lift up the right leg. And when you stabilize on the left leg, if you're a right-handed person, that is the surest way for you to understand how different the strength of the right side is as compared to the left side. So think about that. Again, straighten your back, take a couple of breaths, lift up your right foot. Your time starts now for 30 seconds. It's harder. You're 10 seconds in. Make sure you keep the back straight. And if you have to pick your foot back up because it fell on the floor, the right foot that is, that's okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It's different, right? No two sides are the same on any one person. And right-handed people are very right dominant. Left-handed people have left dominance, but it's not as pronounced. There is more stability, typically, between a left-handed person, the left foot and the right foot on a left-handed person versus the right foot and the left foot on the right-handed person. So something to think about. All right, now we're going to do some bunny hops. And now, lots of people don't like jumping, but plyometrics are something we add in pretty much to every exercise regimen. We didn't do a specific jump last week, but we added some jumping in when we were in our downward dogs. So your next, this next maneuver, which we're going to do in 2 segments of 30 seconds, is for you to, again, do a postural systems check. Put your hands on your hips. When you soften your knees, you slight bend in your knees, and as you start jumping, which I want you to go ahead and start doing now, you're lifting up off the floor no more than, say, about an inch, maybe 2 inches. You land lightly on the balls of your feet. Can you do these barefooted? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, talk to your doctor about any questions that you have about the structural capabilities of your body and the medical benefits or medical risks that you would take. That's 30 seconds. All right. So go ahead and pause for a moment. So you've got to make sure that you've got the thumbs up in terms of any medical issues that you have. So I'll leave it at that. However, plyometrics are really vital because they help activate neurotransmitters that reside in your feet and send signals through the peripheral nervous system into your brain, which are stimulating for your entire body. So jumping around a little bit is a good thing. All right, let's do another 30 seconds. Go ahead and get started. They don't have to be fast. They don't have to be high. And they certainly don't have to move you around a little bit. Though, as you probably can imagine, there are a lot of different ways to moderate, to add variety to jumping around a little bit. So we're going to do lots of fun things with the bunny hops as we move forward. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now, we're going down to the floor. So we're going to go down to the floor and go into a side plank. Now, you're going to get a little bit of a plank when we finish. The last move is going to be a push-up, which we did already, but we're going to do more of them because push-ups are one of the most valuable exercises that you could possibly do. We'll talk about why they're so hated in a bit. But take a couple of deep breaths. What I want you to do, we're going to do 30 seconds on each side. So again, this theme of seeing the difference or acknowledging the difference between the strength of your right side versus your left side will be pronounced because it's going to be harder for you to hold a left side plank than a right side plank. So let's start with the right side. Your elbow goes on the floor. Your elbow and your shoulder make a straight up and down line. And then if you're going to try the full one, you extend your legs out straight and then you lift up. We're going to pause at 15 seconds and then we're going to go back up. All right, so you lift up. Your time is going. And you're breathing. Inhale, exhale, in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And that is already you're at 10 seconds here. Now you can slowly lower your body back to the floor. All right. That was just 15 seconds. Shouldn't be, it's hard, right? It's hard and you want to make sure you're still pulling in your belly button so that you don't fatigue your shoulder. Because guess what? You're going to do push-ups next. So you want to make sure that your shoulders are ready for that. So now lift back up. We'll do 15 more seconds. And if you have to lower to your knees, that's fine. And last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and turn over. Now, again, your legs are straight. Your body is straight. Everything is straight. You're on your left elbow. Left shoulder lined up with the left elbow. Lift up for 15 seconds. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Little shallow breaths are okay. And you are coming up on the 5, 4, 3, 2, rest for a breath. All right, let's go back up to it. Last 15 seconds, your time starts now. And 5, 4, 3, 2, rest. Great. Was it different? Was it harder on the left side? I'll bet it was. It almost always is. And we'll talk more about this as the week continues. But conceptually speaking, our concept of pivoting, and it's the way that I describe this, it has to do with your ambulation, with your ability to walk around. So it's either jogging or cycling sort of, but walking or hiking or jogging or running is an act of pivoting from one leg to the other. And so this, over time, the right-legged dominance, if it becomes so dominant after doing a good job trying to stay in shape, that your left leg, it has pronounced difference in strength, and your right leg starts to develop chronic issues. You end up with a little bit of suffering in your right hip, your right knee, your right ankle, your right foot. That's a fairly normal thing. It's common for runners, for example, that I coach during the half marathon and marathon training series with the Road Runners Club in New York. So you're going to feel that if you exercise. But we're going to come back to it a little bit more as we continue. I want to finish up right now with push-ups. So push-ups are one of our go-to exercises in lots of weeks because I do them every morning, actually, because of the sublime productivity of a push-up in terms of working the entire body, of forcing your heart rate to lift, right? Getting your aerobic systems in check and forcing you to pretty much hold a plank and then move in that plank, right? So if you're on your hands and then your shoulders lined up with your hands can be a little bit wider, but you execute a push-up by holding the plank and then bending your elbows, lowering the body towards the floor, and then pushing yourself back up. So you're pushing up against gravity in a plank position, moving in plank, and working against gravity elevates your heart rate. And then, of course, you're working your shoulders, your triceps, your biceps, your back, all in play. And if you do push-ups for 1 minute and you take your time, you inhale as you lower your body towards the floor, you exhale as you push back up. All right, let's do this. Take your time. Move slowly. If working a push-up from your feet is not possible, and it's okay if it's not possible, you lower your knees onto the floor. You want to try to keep a straight line between your shoulders and your contact point, either your toes or your knees. So you don't want your butt to bend out, to stick out a little bit, and that hip flexor bend is the way that the plank position disengages. You've hit your minute, right? So you're done. Bend your knees now and your hips. Lower yourself into child's pose and just let your shoulders rest and stretch out a little bit. All right, just finish with that stretch. And I'll say goodbye from here because we're past the 20-minute mark. I wanted to keep it under 20 minutes, but have a good Monday and let me know if you have any questions. You can contact my team at bodybyInshape.com, but we'll be back tomorrow and the whole week with this series of 5, and we'll see you again then. Have a great day. Try to get outside and get some fresh air, but please be smart. Wear a mask and take your time. I'll see you soon.